Well, since you clearly don't have anything better to do, think I could put you to work? The remainder of your bounty. I need it delivered to someone. I've already got a porter picked out, too. This here's Salmon. Since he'll be the one making the drop, it's your job to get him there safe.
Doesn't seem like too much of a hassle, but who exactly is this money for?
My son. Haven't seen him in a spell. Not since he left town. And never looked back. This gills me washing my hands of him. He's a grown man. Can't be clinging to his mom's skirts. Or her pocketbook. Much obliged. Once you make it to the crow's nest, find Toby. He'll make sure you get the reward I promised. But if I find a single hair out of place on Sam, you won't live to enjoy it. You keep my boy safe.
Hello there, and welcome to episode 87 of the video game podcast Between the Joysticks. I'm your host, Nick, and I'm always joined by my co-host, John, here. Now, John, we're going to kick things off with
I'm just John? That's like the first time you've ever done that.
It's hard to keep up that gimmick.
All right. That's fair. That's fair. I just want to make sure that listeners know this is still the same podcast.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so if I have a fun one, I'll do it, but just
right.
I'm not going to force it.
Slack.
So,
Got it.
I'm slacking. All right, we're gonna kick things off, John. I'm gonna shoot some news items at you, or some rapid fire news items. So it's not enough to be a thing, but we're gonna go one by one and get John's hottest of take. Okay. He has no idea what I'm bringing.
Never do.
All right.
You think I prepare for this? Great.
All right. First up, March 10th was Mario Day. Did you know that?
Yeah, but I didn't know of anything that happened. Actually, I only knew that because, as we'll talk later, I purchased this Mario game, and on the Switch e-store, it's plastered everywhere.
Right.
So, yeah.
So March 10th was Mario Day. Nintendo actually held a event. They had a video, and we got some news there. The first up is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door remake and Luigi's Mansion 2 both got dates. What's wrong?
My dumb head. I was just picturing, it's like, hey guys, it's Mario Day, and like the only thing they have to announce is that Charles Martinet died. Like that's it. That's just my dumb dark brain.
But he didn't die, did he?
No, he didn't die. That's why it's especially stupid. Also, I'm not sure if that's his last name, but you know who I'm talking about.
All right, so we got both those games got release dates. Paper Mario is coming May 23rd. Luigi's Mansion 2 coming June 27th. Any interest in those remakes, John?
Paper Mario, yeah, honestly.
Really?
Look, I'm not saying I'm going to buy it. I'm not saying that I'm not going to buy it, but one of my earliest loves in the podcasting space was the Easy Allies podcast. And one of my favorite things that they used to do was called the Hall of Greats, where they would all bring nominations on games that they felt deserved to be in their specific Hall of Fame. And it started out obviously, right? Hey, I'm bringing Ocarina of Time. I'm bringing Portal 2, and then eventually it kind of got to the point where you start to see these other games. And I remember Ben Moore specifically bringing that game, Thousand Year Door, and everybody else had their games. And I was like, oh, that's not going to win. That doesn't have a chance. And it got through. And from that day forward, I was like, maybe I should check it out. Maybe I should at least, see what this is all about. So.
Okay.
But Luigi's Mansion, nah.
All right.
The third one was cool.
And then finally, we're getting a sequel to the Mario Brothers movie. It is
not hear this news.
You did not hear this?
I did not.
Man,
I knew it was going to happen. Why would you not? But
you've been in a hole in your little staycation.
One may call it a staycation. That's one word for it.
Prison.
Yes.
That's probably more
my
apt term.
6-day sentence.
That not shocker that movie did gangbusters, but coming April 3rd, 2026 is the sequel to that movie.
Has there been a $1 billion movie that didn't get a sequel? Probably not. I mean, Barbie's going to get one. I don't know. I'll have to do some research.
Any interest in that? I mean, you're going to see it because you have to.
My son, yeah. I'm tangentially interested. I was of the camp. I know we kind of, I don't know if I even say differed on an opinion of this, but I thought the Mario movie, for what it was going to be, was fine. Like it was enjoyable in a very baseline level. So I'm down to just see more of like, odes to certain levels from maybe Mario 3 that I played or whatever. I'm down and I'm down for Jack Black. I love Jack Black. He's unabashedly one of my favorite celebrities. So
Sure. All right. Let's move on to the next news item. Mechs are in Helldivers 2. So last week we mentioned that they're in production, and then those filthy freedom-hating automatons attacked the planet where the factories are on, Tien Quan. And of course, the community responded in full force. A bunch of Helldivers went to Tien Quan, liberated it, and as a reward, we all got mechs.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mechs aside, I just gotta say the Helldivers 2 marketing team is putting on a clinic for how to do this shit. Like they are leaning into the humor of this game, leaning into their player base's just like dumb meme-like obsession with the for democracy and all that shit, to the point where I think they tweeted out yesterday. Some people have seen flying bugs in the game. And then anybody, they basically came out and said, like, no, that's not true. Anybody,
I was going to say, be careful.
Those are bug sympathizers,
Yeah, don't.
And it's just like, it's so perfect. So, yeah, mechs are in. I know they gave them to everybody for free, right? For at least like the first week,
they were in it.
For like
they're gone already. You can't.
Well, I guess not free, right? Like it's a level 25 stratagem.
Yeah, it's a level 25 stratagem.
Yeah, so let people at least try it out, so you didn't have to grind that far. But are they fun?
Yeah, they're great. They feel really well balanced. I thought maybe they might be a little bit overpowered, but they have the right amount of ammo, and the cooldown is ridiculous. That I think in the short time you're in a mission, usually you have that 30-minute timer. You maybe get it twice, which is I think pretty good. But
I've always been very impressed with games that can balance themselves well, right? Which is why Super Smash Brothers is just obscene on that level. I wonder. Is it something as simple as like, all right, guys, make the mech, make the guns as strong as you think, and then we'll just shift the cooldown slider to balance it. Like we just need to push that out. But so it's like effective against like chargers and bigger enemies. And
yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That's what I was.
Because it has rockets and a machine gun, so the bigger enemies
so you
get
rocket up the butt with the charger, and then
but it only has 14 rounds of the rocket ammo. So
all right, that's fair.
Yeah, and it's slower moving too, so it's not. Ideally, you want to save it for big moments, not trekking across the map.
Yeah,
it takes forever.
Can you call in additional stratagems while you're in the mech?
Probably. No, you cannot.
Okay.
You can't
reinforce
or anything like that.
Bile Titan, I guess the move is drop the mech to the side of you, then drop another thing on the Bile Titan, then get in the mech and then go attack the mech, or
your buddies will have to play distraction because it doesn't come in that fast either.
Well, I'm saying if you approach the Bile Titan, right? The missions I've done. Hey, there it is, guys. Okay.
Yep.
Everybody, wait. I'm gonna launch my.
Yeah.
Okay, give it 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Everybody ready? And then mech drops. Okay, I'm going to throw in my strikes now. Go. And then you get the thing and then...
Right. Yeah, that ideally.
Yeah.
But when a Bile Titan comes out of the bug holes, which I've seen on higher difficulties...
Ooh, nice.
You don't have the time to do that, unfortunately. But
I've heard the higher difficulties are a whole nother beast.
Yeah, I'm trying to get up there because some of the resources are on 7. So...
Not resources underneath 7?
There's common, rare, but the super rare is only on 7. So,
I heard there were super rare, and I was like, I just haven't seen. Maybe they're that rare, but okay.
No, yeah, you gotta. But
okay.
Yeah, the game continues to be just amazing. They're doing everything right, and the cadence of these things seem to be good right now. I don't know how longer they'll keep that up.
I would imagine there are many teams out there right now with a Arrowhead notebook, right? This is what they're doing. Write that down. I think you could make an argument that they have a missed opportunity with some of the monetization. I feel gross even saying that, but it does seem like they're probably like, shit, we probably could have gotten away with a lot more money. But I also do think that there's something to be said about the reason that Goodwill is where it is because
yeah,
that groundwork is.
I've also heard discussion of whether it should have been more than $40, given its success. But who knows if it would have sold as well.
They could have got away with 50. I think 60 in 70, you would have seen some people go, this is kind of bare bones for
Right.
at least the main loop of the game.
Right. So.
But if you continue to support it, you can really put any price tag you want on something.
Sure. Sure. All right. On to the next news item. One of John's most anticipated games,
80.
Stellar Blade. We got a demo on last Friday, March 8th.
Did it, Nick?
Yeah, did it though? Because it was posted on the subreddit, PS5 subreddit, and then that subreddit or that post wasn't 30 minutes long, out for 30 minutes. Then the demo was pulled.
Yeah.
And then Sony started disabling the demo, whoever was lucky enough to get it in that very, very small window to download it. But it's good to know a demo's coming. That game looks good, but you gotta get a feel for it first.
Yeah, it is definitely. I mean, any new IP is always going to have that extra level of I don't know. We'll see, especially if it's a new developer. But everything about this game does still seem to point like it should be good. Shift Up, I think, just went public in the Korean stock market, got valued at $2.3 billion. So obviously they have resources. Obviously, they're talented people that know how to run a business. So if they can put the game together, make it fun, be pretty sweet, hopefully.
Yeah, so I'm sure that'll be coming. And I mean, we're still a distance from that game, but
April 26th.
Yeah, so in the next few weeks we will get a demo, and that's fun. We'll talk about it on the show.
We're in a demo renaissance, man. It's nice.
Yeah. There's also a post about that on the subreddit about how many demos are out right now. But
Stop telling me I am unoriginal.
yeah, where do we get all our news from? All right, next news item: Deviation Games is closing. Yeah. This was formed in 2020 by some Call of Duty Black Ops developers, ex-leads.
But Jason Blundell, he's like an OG.
Yeah.
Like he's a Call of Duty OG. So when they got this team going, it was a big deal.
But by 2021, it had over 100 employees. And then they signed a deal with PlayStation to bring a AAA IP for them. So it was going to be a PS5 exclusive. But Blundell left in 2022. They were hit with layoffs, part of the bunch of layoffs of last year. They were one of them, and then now the studio's gone. So,
womp womp.
Yeah, it was a weird post too because they referred to their fans as deviators, and I was like, "You haven't released a game. Who's a fan?"
Fucking kids and ants.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a weird one that I think, admittedly, maybe I should go down the rabbit hole and looking into it more because it is the whole pathway of this team has been a little interesting, right? Like the announcement of the team being developed, the Sony deal, the games they were making. Is this going to be a Call of Duty competitor based on when I think the team was announced? It was kind of right around when that Activision Blizzard stuff was like really catching up, and people thought that this might have been an answer for it, and for it to not result in anything is a bit of a bummer. But I think we're just seeing that is a part of Sony's new definition they've decided for themselves. They're not afraid to pull plugs on things anymore. Factions is a great example of that. Closing Sony London last week. There's these we're not going to talk about it in depth, at least right now. Maybe if more comes out about it, but there's trailers about this Spider-Man project. Multiplayer Spider-Man game that was hitting the internet the past couple days that got canned, and it got at least far enough into development for Yuri Lowenthal to do some voiceover work, and the trailer looks pretty far along. So Sony's not afraid to kind of act something if they don't think it fits their plans in the future. But I wouldn't be surprised to kind of just, with the industry as in flux as it is, with Sony senior leadership influx, you might see a couple more of these correction type moves where it seems like Jim Ryan did a great job in a lot of ways getting the PS5 out during COVID, huge, but it does seem like he might have been a little willy-nilly with the money. He's a marketing guy, right?
Right.
He doesn't think about.
Well, what was it? Famously, we had 12 live service games in production at Sony. Yeah. Oof.
Yep, doing that, and then you bring in Hiroki Totoki, who was the CFO at Sony. He's a money guy, so of course he's going to come in and evaluate things on that level. So yeah, it's sad, but those devs hopefully will find another landing spot.
Yeah, well, we're gonna maybe that's another news item we'll be talking about.
Oh,
But
I truly don't know what Nick.
actually, we'll go right into that because as we were talking about these layoffs, we were talking about like all these studios are forming, and we're seeing a lot of games from new studios that we've never heard of. We mentioned the Exodus game that's tied to Matthew McConaughey last week. Well, I want to bring some more because more studios are coming out. Stig Asmussen, who was the creative director on God of War 3,
Why do I know that name?
Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order, he started a new studio called Giant Skull, and they are working on a AAA single-player game.
Stig. What a name.
And also, we got the announcement this week of Readyverse Studios is making a game called The Open. Not quite sure what it is. It sounds like a battle royale game, but
Yeah.
there's another studio.
Yeah, that one's weird.
And then another studio announced it was open is Empty Vessel, and this is made of ex-Naughty Dog, id, and Activision developers, and they are making a shooter. So, layoffs on one end, but you also have all these studios being formed. So
You said Naughty Dog, id, and who?
Activision.
No.
So probably Call of Duty.
Two really good shooting teams.
Yeah. So
I mean, I would put id. Honestly, I would put id as the best first-person shooting team in the world, personally.
yeah, id or Bungie.
Bungie, yeah, Bungie's up there. And in fairness, I don't play their game, so
Right.
that is fair. It is pretty good in that realm.
Yeah, I think those are probably the two best feeling shooters out there.
Yeah, I mean, Activision. I think.
Oh, and I'll say Respawn. Yeah, Respawn
Yeah,
too.
Respawn knows how to do it. Whether you like them or not, Activision knows how to do it, right? Like Call of Duty games, whether you're into them or not, they feel good as shooters.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, continue. I am a derailer. That's what I do.
No, you're good. And then on to our final news item here. Multiverses is coming back.
No way. It's coming out of what? Beta?
Well, yeah, it was in beta, then it was taken offline early last year.
That was a big deal.
It is coming back. This is again from Player First Games and Warner Brothers. This is the Smash Brothers clone that has Bugs Bunny, Arya Stark, LeBron James.
Gandalf.
No, he never made it to the game.
Oh, he
remember? Because I think they got something with the licensing prevented him from being there. So it is coming back May 28th. It's going to be coming back in Unreal Engine 5 with new netcode and new characters. So May 28th, Multiverses returns.
I'll be interested to see if it has a chance. I mean, because when it came out, it wasn't dethroning Smash by any stretch of the imagination, but it was probably the best version of a competitor.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I played it. A lot of people played it. I just wonder if that was a death sentence to just pull it away for a while, or if it's going to pay off. I mean,
it's hard to say.
It is hard to say
because I think that game was limping along at the time they took it off.
The little bit of momentum it had would have quickly died away.
Yeah, so will it be a Final Fantasy 14 story? The game will relaunch and be a huge success. I
don't know.
But it has to feel a lot better than it did when we played it. Like it has to feel a lot tighter.
And it's just I don't know, man. Nintendo, there are so few companies that can pull off a roster as robust and interesting as Nintendo can. And I don't think Warner Brothers is it. Sony could probably figure it out, but I don't know. I'm looking at the roster right now. It's there's a couple super dope ones, right? Bugs Bunny, playing as Bugs Bunny is cool. Playing as Batman is cool. I'll give him Arya Stark. But Stripe from the Gremlins and LeBron James and Rhine Dog. I don't know what that's from. It's just
that's the new character specific to that game.
Rhine Dog.
Yeah, that's not a character from another property.
Oh yeah, first appearance in Multiverses. So, but that it's just it does not have the same. When I pulled out Super Smash Brothers for my son and his friends on his birthday party, Sonic, and they went crazy for Sonic and Samus. Weirdly enough, so I'm not saying there's not a couple on here that wouldn't happen the same, but Smash Brothers captures all ranges of people. It captures grown-ups and kids and. I don't know.
Nintendo is the Disney of video games, so
yeah. Disney, PlayStation, and Nintendo. Those are three that could make it work.
Yeah. So
even Marvel, you start running into a situation these all feel the same. They're all the same person. They're just superheroes.
Sure. Okay. Oh, that's all I got. So.
All right. So time for topic number 1.
Yeah. Well, these news items keep piling up. I wanted to at least get a hot take on them.
I mean, that's honestly been one of my not issues with our show, but if we can figure out a way to bring topics that we have something to say but not enough to make it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's almost like we need an intro segment of Nick's news, some other N-word, not the N-word. So if
Where are we going here?
So if you have any ideas, let us know, because there are a lot of times it's I would like to mention that, but I don't want to make it a 10-minute
Well,
thing.
you can always bring it as a thing, and we can talk about it for 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know. You're very loosey-goosey, but
So
I'm a man of structure.
all right. Okay, so let's get on to how the show works. John and I can both bring up to 3 things to talk about for a total of 6 things. It can be a game we're playing. I'm still playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. John is bringing Super Mario Wonder.
I platinumed Brotato, though.
Oh, yeah.
I platinumed Brotato. So
And your trick didn't work.
my trick didn't work. Nope. I was not able to do a 2-for-1 deal. Thought I could load in my save into the PS5 version. Didn't work.
It's weird that some games do that and some games don't.
Yeah, it's like a specific developer initiative, I guess.
Yeah, it's like Last of Us Part 2 did it. Final Fantasy VII Remake did it.
I mean, in fairness, I didn't look super hard into it. I literally just
Assumed.
So what I did is I sent my PS4 cloud save to the cloud, right? I then deleted the PS4 version, downloaded the PS5 version, and then I was hoping that once I launched the PS5 version, there's just a load save thing.
Right.
I couldn't find anything, so
Oh.
maybe there's a weird way to do it, but I didn't care enough.
Anyway, yeah, he's the king of derailment over here.
I'm good at that.
It can also be a news item, like the news items we just talked about. It can be a topic. We're going to talk about review scores today because John's a butt about it. And but it can also be an email from you, the listener, at betweenthejoysticks@gmail.com, or a Twitter DM at joystickspod, or a comment on our YouTube page at Between the Joysticks. Any of those things, we bring it, and we have a total of 5 things for you today. And we're going to kick things off by talking about the Xbox Partner Preview that occurred last week. We teased it on the show. We teased some games that were going to be there. So I just wanted to highlight a few games that looked interesting. There was a total of 14 games. Not everything. Some games we've seen before, some new announcements. DLC for Persona 3 was there. But I brought 3 things, 3 video game highlights from that show that I wanted to talk about.
Well, I just want to get your overall opinions of it first.
I like how it's done. It's
Short, quick and to the point.
Yep. So, but I don't know. These things are always weighted by the games that are there, and I know Xbox is now PC, and as we talked about, their initiative to go everywhere. That I don't know, like Final Fantasy 14. I know they're trying to lure Square Enix over and give this game a lot of coverage, but I don't know. It's always based on the games, but I do like the format. I do like how they show some games and they recap what they showed. They have Xbox Wire blog post about each individual game if you want to learn more. Mm-hmm. And I think it is good that the console makers highlight other. Nintendo's been doing it. Sony highlighting other studios' video games, giving them their time to shine, because when these companies do that, there's so many more eyes on this. So, if a trailer for Stalker Original Trilogy just popped up, it'd get a couple thousand views as opposed to all the eyeballs on this one showcase. So,
and that's kind of like my takeaway from this is it really feels like this is Xbox positioning a specific show that is going to show off small Game Pass games that wouldn't necessarily get the attention by themselves, or if they just got thrown onto the service. Like they'd probably be like, what's sleight of hand? I don't know. Right. Move on to the next thing. So it is cool that that these places or these games do have an opportunity to shine. I don't want to get down on Xbox immediately here though, but it did seem very just in terms of if these are your partners, Capcom was there. That was good. Yeah. But I don't know. It seemed the quality of the game definitely felt a little low to me.
Yeah.
But
yeah. kind of reminded me of the PlayStation Showcase last year that we got all excited for. Is like the games just didn't seem to hit that level of showcase level. But usually these things, your expectations are a lot lower. There was no Silk Song. You'll never see that game again.
Yeah, at what point of the year do we start worrying about our indie games that we've picked up in the league that don't have dates? Like, at what point, like June? If nothing by June, you go, oh, God.
Right.
But yeah, anyway, Nick, sorry to derail again.
All right.
We'll call this episode something about...
So we're each going to highlight some games that we saw. What?
I'm just derailing more.
Yeah, you're unstoppable today. All right. So you mentioned Sleight of Hand. I wanted to bring that. No release date, coming from Riff Raff Games, and it was a cinematic trailer, which usually doesn't do it for me, but I did like the trailer, and I love the description.
Cool premise.
It's a upcoming third-person stealth game of hard-boiled espionage action that will have you infiltrate your old witch coven using a cursed deck of cards. I'm in.
Yeah.
You had me at espionage action from Metal Gear.
Loves hard-boiled eggs, this guy.
But then you throw in cards on top of that. It's at least an interesting premise. It's got my attention.
This definitely seems more you than me, but sorry for that, folks. If we hit the table, it's me being a oaf. More you than me, but the trailer I think did a nice job, kind of just demonstrating what this. Even though we're not going to show you the gameplay, demonstrating what that's going to be. Right? You're probably gonna. It's almost gonna. I would imagine. Maybe a little isometric, a little top-down. You see the enemies over here. You got your cards. You can throw them in certain spots and place them. And, it could be a smoke screen or a trap card. And that's just, it's a cool, unique idea. Yep. I personally am not a big espionage, sneaking around kind of guy. But the idea that it's like witchcraft in a coven, like that makes it more interesting. I just never really liked those covert operations kind of things. But I'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, I mean, I'm lame.
Yeah, so you are. So, all right, what do you got?
Thank you. So for my first one, I want to shine is the first Berserker Kazan. It's a game we've seen before.
Yep.
But I think this just kind of showed off a small slice of the gameplay, and anybody who watched it, who's been around the video game worlds for a while, knows this is a Souls-like. This is definitely a Souls-like. They had a long part of the trailer showing off a boss fight where the boss obviously went through multiple phases, which almost is like kind of a Souls-like qualifier at this point.
Right.
If you have a boss that starts off looking one way, rips off a fucking arm or something, and uses that as a weapon, and then it gets dark around. It's got all that. It's got the 1v1. Looks like you lock on. You kind of have methodical movements, but it does seem a little bit faster, more Devil May Cry and Souls had a baby.
Now, this is set in the League of Legends universe, right?
DNF? Is that League of Legends?
Oh, no, that's the
DNF
other.
Duel.
Right, that's the fighting game.
And honestly, when the trailer started, I saw that, I go, meh. Like, I literally was just about to skip it, but I was like, the art style was cool enough. I don't think it's going to be any type of game that rivals FromSoft, that rivals, I'm hoping for a Lies of P type thing.
Gotcha.
But,
yeah, that's a good callback.
I would imagine a little lacking on probably the environments, probably going to be a little lacking on enemy variety, but looks stylish, looks fun. So I'll keep my eye out.
Now I'm going to derail. Do you ever plan on playing Lies of P?
Yeah. I want to. I just, with I keep complaining about to you, with Rebirth now hanging over my head, I can't escape these giants that won't leave me alone. And so Lies of P will never leapfrog a Rebirth or a Stellar Blade or a Dragon's Dogma. And the rate I play games, I just don't think that that's a wise decision. But I will say, if Lies of P is $15, I probably will just buy it as a sign of support and just as a if I ever scratches that itch and I want to give it a shot.
Sure.
So,
okay.
Yeah, people say it's dope.
All right. The next game I wanted to bring from the partner preview is The Alters. This is from 11-Bit Studios. No release date for this as well, but it's a sci-fi game that is a blend of adventure, survival, and base building elements. But the cool thing about it, the cool premise about it, is that you call in versions of yourself, like a multiverse, that have made different decisions in their life, and then they start inhabiting this base, and then they have wants and needs, and they look different. They have different opinions on things. Just a really interesting premise that I think it's just not something we see in video games, but it looks to be like almost like The Sims almost. Like that's the closest comparison, because they all have demands, and then they're all different personalities, but it is an interesting premise. They're all a different version of you. And it kind of got me Returnal vibes too, when he was out in the world and you're trying to get off a planet.
The environments look very like that.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you describe it. Muted,
right?
But very specific color palettes for the place you're
in.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the more interesting games that they showed, and this was a reveal trailer, correct? This is the first time we've seen it, so had a lot of things I liked as well. I think the mobile base idea is cool. Like, I like the grid format of it, where it's like you can easily see. It kind of reminded me of like Spiritfarer, where you'll have these like specific rooms that do specific tasks, and you can assign specific people to it.
Yeah,
and like that management style is probably going to be fun. I do think that this game will have a tough task making it narratively engaging, in the aspect that unless if you have a really solid writing team to make all of those versions of yourself feel unique and fleshed out and like have actual motivations and actual characters, as opposed to just like it's the mad guy and there's the happy guy and there's the smart guy, that will be, I think, a hard thing to do.
And I think also the performance of that one actor playing all these different versions is a big part too.
It's a big part, and that is something like the facial animations with how gorgeous the environments and looked like were pretty rough, and something that can be tweaked from now till then. But yeah, I would just think like between the narrative is going to be tough to land, because even the parts where he's like, "What if I fought to save my marriage? I don't care. You're on a weird planet. What if I didn't drop out of college? I don't care. You're on a weird planet." Like, to get me as the player to care about that, it just seems like you're going to maybe muddle the waters a little bit. And I hope that the gameplay elements of like the survival are on point, and like there's actually like good moment to moment stuff to do there, because like if that moment to moment isn't fun, and then I come back to my base and like some hollow shell of a person's like, "I'm mad at the botanist because I want more garlic and he's planting more carrots," and it's like, I don't think that's what it is, of course, but I hope it's not shallow.
Sure.
But it looks cool. Looks unique.
Yeah. Interesting premise. We'll see how it lands. So
yeah.
All right, what do you got next?
Another game we saw. This game got a lot of shine at the Game Awards. People talking about the person who announced it. He has a lot of personal attachments to it, but that's not Tails. Hold on. I just lost my page. Where was I? Sorry. Hold on, folks.
I think it is Tails.
There it is. Yeah, it is Tails. Tales of Kenzaru Zao, which is a upcoming Metroidvania game. The dude who, very just African guy, like, right? He's from Africa, was the one who presented at the Game Awards. But it just looks like, a very, very Metroidvania-ass Metroidvania game, with upgrade abilities and freezing streams of water to use an ice thing to climb on it. And like, I'm just all about that. It looks, the graphics look great. If the movements and stuff are solid, like, I'm in. And again, I don't think this is a game that will capture anybody who's not into Metroidvanias. You really need to know yourself if that's what you like. But I would expect this to be a $30 game, maybe a $40 game that, is very Prince of Persia Lost Crown-esque. I think it'll probably review well, not sell well. I don't think you'll see a sequel for it. So if this is your kind of jam, go out and support it, because, dude, one of those
looks
genuine
very
dudes.
Similar to the Prince of Persia. That's I don't know if
Yeah,
that's going to help or hurt it.
Well, I think Prince of Persia, with the backing of a established IP and a very prominent third-party developer, still very much struggled with sales, just because Metroidvanias are a little niche. They, unless if you're a video game person, like, there's no casual Metroidvania player. It just doesn't happen, right?
True.
So it's gonna have a tough road ahead of it, but I hope to play it. I hope that it's adequately priced, and it's not one of those games that 2 months after release is like 90% off because it's not good and nobody wants to play it. But I think it looks cool.
Okay. All right, and the final game I'm going to bring is Creatures of Ava from Inverge Studios. This is a game coming out sometime this year. I thought for a minute that it was Everwild, the rare game. Like,
Yeah, where's that one?
because this is where in this game you lead to your goal is you're on a planet that's dying, and you need to get the animals off the planet. So you're gonna learn to understand and tame the creatures of the planet, so they will leave with you. And so they show the character doing just that, just playing a song and all these wildly alien-looking creatures following her around. And I don't know, just it's very pleasant and delightful.
I think I can explain this game in one. If you're familiar with these two games, it's if Chia and Bugsnax had a baby. Like that's what I get.
Okay.
Where you're kind of going around. You got these creatures. They probably have weird ways that you have to like lure them, entice them.
Yeah.
And you take a picture, you lure them somewhere, and you do it. But it's also got that art style, that like free, like just good vibes, type thing that Chia had. Yeah, it's cool. I want to really quickly. I said Tales of Kenzera
Yeah.
Zhao by Surgeon Studio. So I just want to correct that real quick.
Sure. And is that it? Do you have any other game?
The only other one I want to shout out that, because Capcom is fucking Capcom nowadays, Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess. That
Great name.
Yeah. Good luck pulling that one out of the top of your head when you need to. But, Capcom is just, with the exception of Exoprimal, like, which even that wasn't a bad game, it just was what it was. It's just been on a fucking tear for 7-8 years now. And so anytime they're going to come out with a new IP, I'm going to at least look at it.
Sure.
But I got a lot of, honestly, like PS2 vibes from this. Like a smaller, more maybe arena-based kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
Fast combat. Looks like you collect like orbs and shit. But it's got that feudal Japan type art style,
Sure.
Similar to Okami and stuff. So
yeah.
I would just, it's Capcom. It's what they close the show out with. I would imagine that this is going to at least be good at the very least.
It's true. It's true.
Very
Capcom
least.
does not miss.
Makes me almost want to pick it up in the league, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I
also have every spot full. So.
All right, so we can move on to our next topic. Of course, I'm continuing to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but
continually.
But unlike last time where I was very early on, only had like about 8 hours into it. I'm crushing that game now. It's probably going to be my game of the year. I don't see it.
That's so unlike you to make that declaration in early.
I just don't see any game coming close, and I'll touch a little bit on that, on why. But for one, is definitely the nostalgia of all this. It's an incredible undertaking that they did this, and
makes me so mad that I don't have that.
That it's good. It's so good. And the reason why it's so good is, unlike in the original game, Remake, and Final Fantasy 16, they kind of lost their sense of adventure. And I think that's critical to a Final Fantasy game. Like, Final Fantasy is always about an eclectic cast of characters going on an adventure to save the world, pretty much. That pretty much is what they all boil down to. And while Remake was good, the fact that you're stuck in Midgar and you're just kind of revisiting the same sections, you really didn't get that grand scale of what a Final Fantasy game should feel. Mm-hmm. And this game has that. The second you get to the Junon region, where I was right before we last talked about it, it is just a wild roller coaster ride of just fun thing after fun thing after fun thing, battles, great characters, and just, it's fantastic.
Yeah. That's an interesting point. I mean, we talked about it on the show, but I don't have the most robust Final Fantasy experience. But when I think back on 10, which is not only my favorite Final Fantasy, but one of my favorite games of all time, I can clearly think of the journey. I go from Besaid Island to Kilika to Luca to Mechalania Forest to the Calmlands and Mount Gagazet. And it's like, you're right. I think that is part of why I love that game, is because I can tie those places to moments in the story. I can tie those places to specific people. So I mean that's a good point, because when I think back on 16, which I've played far more recently, I don't think I can name you a location.
Right.
I don't think I can. It's just like there's the town with the big ice mountain, and then there's the ship, and that's about it. So.
Correct. yeah. So I think that is definitely going for this game big time. Another thing is, and I don't want to coin this to Yakuza, but just the silliness of the game. Like it's never taking itself too serious, and there's going to be a lot of comparisons to Yakuza because of all the mini games, like I talked about last week. But just like the random characters you meet in this game are just so fun and weird and bizarre. I was doing this Queen's Blood tournament, and you go and play someone, and then you have to report your results to this attendant running the thing. And the first time I go to him, nothing. I go back to him to tell him I won my last match, and he has a cloud tattoo on his face. And I'm like what?
A cloud or like cloud?
A cloud, yeah, your character Cloud.
Okay.
And then I keep going back to him, and he's getting more and more becoming like a Cloud super fan. Like he's got like a sash that says Cloud's name on it. He's wearing all this gear that looks like
Cloud in the world at this point.
What do you mean?
In the story, like is he like a world-renowned hero?
No, he was just getting excited because I was winning this Queen's Blood tournament.
Okay. It's just literally his personal interaction with you.
Yeah.
All right, that makes it funny.
Yeah, but every time you come back, it's just like
that's my man.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
And just like and just all the characters are like that. Just random side characters are just so over the top and flamboyant that you're just charmed by the game. Another thing is like the effective use of swearing in this. There's a lot of swearing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's kind of jarring, like when there's a scene where Barrett's getting all upset, and Cloud's just like, "You need to get your shit together," and I'm like, "What?" Or the famous parade scene in the game. Barrett suggests, "Oh, we should just go out there and disrupt their parade, celebrating the president of Shinra." And Cloud is like, "Yeah, if we want to get shot like dumbasses." It's just like, and this version of Cloud, like Cloud has never been like one of my favorite characters in these games because he's just so like aloof and kind of just dumb, oblivious a lot of the times. But they really did a great job with this Cloud, and lines like that really help. And he's overall just a better version of the character, I think. One of my other favorite parts is when Yuffie shows up and she gives this big giant speech of how cool she is, and she's the collector of materia and wields this giant throwing star, and then she gives her speech and Cloud's just like, cool, and he just walks away. And it's just stuff like that. It's just the game is just full of this kind of stuff, and it's awesome. John, I can't recommend it enough right now.
Good, keep crushing it, bud. I'll be right back. Yeah, make sure we'll take a note of your first trophy and your last trophy, and then we'll compare your time versus mine. Oh. 10 times as long? I'm saying 10 times as long.
Yeah, you're going to finish it next year? Yeah.
Probably.
Because, the game is gigantic. Like, every region I go through, I'm just like, holy shit. Like, here's another one of these regions, and it's just, I think there's 5 total, and they're just these giant open worlds full of shit to do. And it's wonderful. The game is awesome.
We'll talk about the music.
Oh yeah, the music's great, and the weirdness that they associate specific tracks to like certain things. The latest video game Donkey video on the game kind of highlighted that. Like there's a song just for when chocobos do excavation missions. There's a specific song for that. There are side quests involving dogs, and there's a dog specific theme song that plays while you're doing these side quests, and then there's a battle version of that song when you get in a battle when you're on these side quests, and it's everywhere. There's unique music to so many different things, and the mini games, like I don't want to spoil them because some are just so incredible. Like they're just so out of left field that you're shocked. You're like, if someone walked in the room, they're like, "Are you playing a Final Fantasy game?" Yeah. You know, I did the chocobo racing, and the chocobo racing is just Mario Kart. It is Mario Kart built into the game with drifting and items and designing your chocobo with different there's different types of chocobos, and there's different outfits they wear. And at first you think like, oh, that's just cosmetic, right? Mm-hmm. But once you unlock this racing mode, they actually have specific effects in a race. And it's just, just a side part of the game. Yeah. So,
well, let me ask you a difficult question then.
What?
If the solution to the seemingly money problem in the industry right now was to reduce on that type of stuff, the racing, the amount of songs that you have, the breadth of the game, and it allowed us to have a healthier system, less layoffs, and quicker releases. Is that a trade-off you're willing to make, or do you think that you are fine with the amount of or you would rather
No, I would rather have games come out quicker.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Okay.
They doesn't need this many mini games. But also in this case, I think a lot of this is set up for the third game, which will have us revisit all these locations again. So kind of like
it's not like there's a second open world that we're gonna have to
right. So I wonder if the development time between this game and will be shorter than the time between remake and Rebirth,
which was pretty good. Like I
yeah,
remember
just under 4 years.
Yeah, which with the story that was Final Fantasy 15, I remember when that got announced. We're like, great, we're gonna play the third one in 2045.
Right. So I wouldn't be surprised if the third game comes quicker, but I don't know if they're going to put all this effort into more mini games. We'll see. But I think a lot of this stuff is there because, again, it'll be in the third game too. So
I think they were talking about it seems like they're going to make a standalone Queen's Blood game. I don't know if you saw that article.
Yeah.
But do what they did with
Gwen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Gwen from The Witcher.
Yeah, Queen's Blood continues to be great, and they not only are you playing other players, but they have these challenge modes which give you certain decks and certain challenges or a certain deck setup, and how do you win this in one move, kind of stuff. So that's Queen's Blood just is amazing, and that
reminds me of Into the Breach.
And then also with Queen's Blood is I keep winning these matches, and now it has a creepy side quest associated with it, like something's like. Someone told me that the top tier Queen's Blood players are getting killed, and so there's like this weird side quest also built on top of this mini game that keeps showing up everywhere you go. So it's just wonderful. I'm sorry, John, you got to play it.
You don't have to be. I'm gonna play it. I was always gonna play it. I wish I had that fucking nostalgia. That's
right.
All, that's all I'm mad about.
Right. Yeah. One of my favorite characters in the game is Sid, which is unlikely. Most people are like big Vincent fans, and Tifa, of course, and the other characters. But
Kate Sith, baby.
not so much Kate Sith, who's wonderful though. This version of Kate Sith is great too. But they briefly mentioned his name, like, oh, if you go to this location, he can help you fly to here. And even though I had tons of side quests left, I'm like, I just got to go see Sid. I want to see this version of the character, and he's great too. Yeah. So I just
nice. It's always good. It's always good.
Yeah,
you're just sitting here at work, and you're like, God, I just want to get home and do that. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, and the highlight of what the latest Kyle Bosman is just like, we're eating really good right now, and it just, like I said, it's just like Helldivers and Rebirth. And I'm just like, oh, man.
His takes make me so angry how good they are sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, great reads on the industry.
God, so good.
It's a bummer. Like a lot of these, like Dragon's Dogma's coming, and Hi-Fi Rush is coming out next week, and it's just like, oh fuck, man. Like I'm still eating so good here. I don't know if I want to. Will I step away for Rebirth for even a second to play Hi-Fi Rush? We'll see.
It's a bloodbath, man. I mean, you even look at like a game like Banishers of Ghosts of New Eden, which came out
and reviewed well
in February, and it pushed itself to that time because it was in the bloodbath that was already last fall, and then they get pushed in there, and like, what do we fucking do?
Right.
So yeah, it's then you got Dragon's Dogma, which I'm curious about that game too, like how it does. Just I would expect review scores over 90, quite honestly, at this point. Like I know Nick and I on this podcast have we at one point were down on that game, but seems to be awesome. So we'll see, but even if it's a 92,
I'm going to derail us again.
Yeah, sure.
Did you check out the character creator? I know you're not a character creator guy, but Dragon's Dogma released the character creator.
No, I just saw like some of the videos they were posting of like the magical archer, which is just a dope class. First of all, like, I want to be a magical archer. So I checked out a couple of those, but not the character creator.
Yeah, you can download it on Xbox and PlayStation and create your character and your pawns before the game even comes out. So
okay, yeah. I
touched it briefly, and I'm like, I'm not gonna mess with this unless I plan on getting the game, and I don't know where I sit on that yet. So
you'll get it, or I'll get it, or somebody will get it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is that all you got for Final Fantasy, Nick?
Yeah, that's it. I just wanted to briefly touch on how wonderful it is.
Sure. Well,
it's gaming goodness.
Wonderful. I did finally pick up Super Mario Wonder over the weekend. It's kind of like that one last remaining Switch game I feel like that I wouldn't have been able to not at least check out. I knew it was going to be great. Great game to play with my son. But Came out last year to rave reviews. I think it's sitting at about a 91 on OpenCritic. And I don't think I even really need to get into what this game is. If you're listening to this podcast, you fucking better know what a
Game of the Year nominee.
Yep, and what a 2D Mario game is going to do. But I think it is also very important to at least really point to the similarities of this game with Super Mario World and Super Mario 3, which I think are, to this day, regarded as the two great side-scrolling Mario games. And this game does a wonderful job. God, yeah, that is the worst. I'm gonna try to do my best never to say wonderful the rest of the podcast.
All right, I'll pull up a thesaurus for you.
Sure. Fantastic. Well, all I need to do is think of when you jump on the flag. If you get to the top, it says wonderful, and then fantastic, and then like super, and then like shitty or something. I don't think it's a shitty.
It should.
It should.
That'd be funny.
But it is a great continuation of what made those games great and what didn't really make the new Super Mario Bros. Games stick, I think. Like it really goes back to like a weird sense of discovery within these seemingly basic worlds. Like you go through a level, like I remember playing Super Mario World as a kid, and you go through a level thinking it is very linear, very A to B, and then you start to uncover these keys and like, what do these do? And you uncover these blocks, what do those do? And it kind of allows us, it feeds this sense of replayability and exploration and really trying to extract everything that the game has put into itself, right? Like Mario is a deceptive game. Like even this one, I remember going into the first level and playing with my son, and like you're literally just bouncing on heads, and you're just you get to the end. It takes 3 minutes for a level, and like it's cool, and we do it. But last night I got to the second world, and it has like obviously it has a ton of levels. There's 152 levels in this game. 69 of them are like original level, like what you would expect a Mario level to be, and then there's like 10 special worlds, 20 badge challenges, races, like there's all that kind of stuff.
Scope of these video games, man.
Yeah, and so what Super Mario Wonder has added into this game is a badge system, which is pretty cool because it allows you to add just new movesets to Mario, right? It can be something as simple as I get extra coins when I kill enemies, or I get an extra wall jump. So as opposed to just your typical wall bounces, right? You get an extra straight up wall jump. So if there's a high platform you couldn't get to, you can go boop and you can go over, right?
Yeah.
So it just allows you to play with that. But I got to a difficult like badge mission, and it's like I'm jumping on these like razor sharp things. They're rotating. I'm just climbing up and fell, I don't know, a good 20, 25 times, and really kind of set the like, oh yeah, these games really do have challenges if you seek them out. But that's been kind of my experience with it so far. Is like it does the standard Mario thing well while iterating on everything that's made these games great in the past while adding more to it. And that's why I don't think I need to get into what the game is, because we all fucking know. But they're adding clever, cute things. Right? You can do Elephant Mario now, which his thing is like if you're standing on water, he sucks it up into his nose, and you can like use that to spray enemies. The Wonder Flowers, of course. I had to say it in that time. I couldn't say Fantastic Flowers because they are called Wonder Flowers. But that's a brand new mechanic that every single level. I think some levels have 2 of them. Have a Wonder Flower. Sometimes they're obvious, sometimes they're hidden, but they mix up the game in zany ways. All of their trailers really kind of showcase those. The one that everybody talked about is like the singing piranha plant level, which is like the second level in the game. So you see it super early, but you get the Wonder Flower. You're going through the level, and the plants piranha plants are doing what they do, and you have these cute little flowers now because you're in the Flower Kingdom. We're not in the Mushroom Kingdom anymore.
Right.
But these little cute flowers that are actually voice acted,
right?
And so I hit the Wonder Flower in this level, and like things kind of slow down, and the guy goes, "What is going on? Oh my God, they're singing!" And then like the piranha plants just start like marching and like singing like do 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 do, and like they're doing this thing. It's just all very cute, very fun, very wonderful.
Yeah.
But I will say, the game is great. Having a great amount of time. I do think it's not quite as good as people were saying. Like people were going like, this is better than World, this is better than this kind of stuff. And like, I don't know, like when I play this game, the game I immediately compare it to, and maybe it's not a fair comparison, but it's Rayman Legends. And I love Rayman Legends. I've talked about that game a lot. And specifically in that game, right, they have these music levels, right? There's 5 of them, I think. You go through the music, they're great. Those levels blow the fucking roof off of like that piranha plant level, for instance.
Right.
And that's what I find with these Wonder Flowers. They're all very cool. but they're not as monumental as I kind of had them built up in my head.
Right.
You know, where it's like there's this one level, it's got a super cool aesthetic. It's like this basically like everything looks like a shadow. Mario's black, the trees are black, the enemies are black. It's this cool aesthetic.
Right.
And like you hit the Wonder Flower and he just basically stretches himself out. And like he can get to coins he couldn't get to before, and there's other little weird things, but it's like it's not fundamentally changing as much as I thought it was. But that's also me, I think, just being a little like nitpicky but other than that, it's it's great. It's exactly what you would want it to be. I plan on playing the shit out of it. Upcoming work trip that I have. But it's also it's a tailor-made side game for me too.
Sure.
So I don't know if I'm going to be like going through it and just crush through it, because as fun as the levels are, you play 152 of them. Eventually you're going to be like, I've had enough running and jumping. And, but obviously I want to see it all the way through. And, once I get this one done, then I think I can kind of set that Switch down, unless if like Princess Peach Showtime comes out and like this, you have to play this game.
Find out in a week.
And be pretty good with my lifetime Switch experience, I think.
Mm-hmm.
At least I think, if the Switch 2 doesn't come out till next year, they're going to have some sort of fall game, but I don't know. It's pretty solid though.
Okay. Do you think its high review scores has kind of tainted you when you were going in, because you're expecting the bar this high?
I think so.
And then when it's reviewing better than Spider-Man 2 and
yeah, and like again, don't get me twisted. It has a potential. I'm not ready to say if it's a 3, 4, or 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's definitely a 4 or 5. But it's just. I think Nintendo always does get a little bit of a bump. I am in that camp. They do. The Nintendo bump is real. Because I don't think Tears of the Kingdom is a 96 either. That's just kind of
right.
But no, I think it's just it's also a type of game I've been playing for 25 years now. So
right.
There's that.
That's true.
So, but overall, highly recommended. Continue to play it. Have more to say about it hopefully in the future.
Now, did you sell your Switch to get it?
No. No, because I didn't have the time.
Right.
We've referenced it earlier in the show. I had my wife was gone for 5 days, so I had all 3 kids, and I didn't want to go into the store with the kids, wait for them to test it, do all that.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't want to go to Disc Replay, which is another way to do it, because they're even slower. So I was like, all right, don't judge me here. Maybe you can. But I went to a GameStop. I was like, Levi, you're sitting in the car with your sisters. I'm going in. I'm getting Mario. I can see the car. I'll be right back. And so I just went in with 3 games. I traded in Armored Core, Cyberpunk, and
I'm sure you got so much money for Cyberpunk.
I got $11.
Oh,
pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I bought it for $5.
Yeah.
So it was more. That's why I was going to keep it. But I was like, if a game is $5.50 or under, I usually just keep it. And something else I can't remember. But give me like $44.
Okay.
So I spent $15. Not bad.
Okay.
But
no GameStop story. Just
no GameStop story.
Just straight to business.
Nobody kidnapped my kids. They're fine. No, he was outside smoking a cigarette when I walked up to the door.
Did he give you that like, you motherfucker? Like, now I gotta.
No, he was pretty chill. He was pretty. Just one of those guys that he's kind of a bro. Like, hey man, what's going on? What can I get for one of those kind of guys. But no stories.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right, let's move on to a topic about the review scale. Now, I'm bringing this because John doesn't like our review scale. He doesn't think we should rate 1 through 5. So I had to bring it and we talk about it on the show because we actually got kind of a little bit into it. And I was like, we shouldn't talk about this now.
I punched him, and then he kicked me in the balls, and then it got messy.
Yeah, yeah, very heated. So what's the deal, John? Why you don't like? Because here's the thing: when the scale is 1 through 10, 1 through 6 doesn't get matter.
I get it.
Does not matter, and that shouldn't be how it is. But that is what it is now. Unless a game is really broken, like a Lord of the Rings Golem. Or that King Kong game that came out last year, those other numbers are just not used at all.
Right.
You're basically seeing games getting 6. I'll say 6 through 10. Suicide Squad got a 6, but
I agree with you there. I agree that the 10-point scale is flawed.
okay.
My issue with ours is because I think as a people, myself included, we view review scales much like we review our grade school scales. That is how we all view it. So a 7 out of 10, while that should be good, is viewed poorly in my head. And I think with no way to say that there's a difference between an 8 and a 10, which I think there is a wide difference between those two things, and not having a middle ground kills me sometimes. It's like Final Fantasy 16 was the perfect example. In no world is that a 5 out of 5 to me.
Sure.
But I also think in no world is that a 4 out of 5, at least how my brain works. Like that is a pure blood 9 out of 10 all day long, where there's I have a couple gripes with it. It's not perfect, but man, oh man, is this game cool. And yes, we're not going to probably give out any 4s or 5s. I get it. But I need to be able to break it down a little bit more on that high level, if that makes sense. I'd be fine with 4.5s. It's the same thing, I know. It's just when I listen to people, like if I listen to Colin Moriarty do his stuff, he hates review scores more than anything, so they don't even review shit. But I know you're standing like your point, right? What you just gave something a 3 out of 5, I feel like, or maybe
that's the one thing is like we review games, but we don't keep record of them at all.
We should do that. But a 3 out of 5 to you is like it's good. I like it. I would recommend it.
Yeah.
A 3 out of 5 to me is like I don't have fucking time for that. That thing's probably okay, but like I need a 4 out of 5. So like I don't know. That's just I need to be able to break down.
It was Diablo 4, I bet. No, that's
a 3 out of 5?
Yeah, I bet I gave Diablo 4 a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, and so I don't know. That's just kind of like how I am, and I mean, at the end of the day, really all that matters is what our listeners think and what they like. So maybe this is like maybe we leave a long running poll up and say what kind of review scales do you like?
You can always put a poll out.
Just post it for like a month or so and see. We'll have the same people vote, but.
I just don't think video game reviews need to be that granular, to be honest. I think 5 should be reserved for a perfect game. 4 is an excellent.
That's what I mean. Like, how many perfect games are there?
There's quite a few.
Perfect?
Yeah. Well, perfect is like Hades, or and then again, this is my opinion. Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Persona 5. Spider-Man 2 is probably a 4.
See,
maybe it's a 5. I don't know. That's hard.
Do you see?
Yeah, well, of course, when you got to think about it, but eventually we'll get to a number.
Yeah, no, I know, but is that number that you arrive on an accurate representation, or is there a more accurate way to portray how you feel with like a 9 or 4.5? To you personally, I know the answer is no, but I feel like there's some value there. There could be a little bit of value. We don't have to decide right now, Nick. I'm not trying to bully you into this.
No, but, you're fine. You're fine.
But maybe we can get some well thought out responses, from some of our bros in the crowd, in the audience.
Because a lot of sites have been, I mean, it's been an issue for a long time. IGN used to give out 8.5s and 8.8s, and like, good God.
You want me to really make you mad, Nick? I would love that. But like,
oh my God!
Yeah, but that's just me being stupid.
You are stupid.
Yeah, I know.
Because you can't tell me what the difference between an 8.3 and an 8.7 is.
There isn't one, but in my head, I can then order. I'm a ranking person.
Right.
Like, I love to rank things. What's the best 250 movies of all time? And like, is there a difference between 68 and 69? Of course not. Of course not. But in my mind, I can rank them, and that makes me feel good.
So you're a big movie guy. Are you mad at Letterboxd for not doing a 5-point scale?
No, because it's not. Wait, what?
You rate on Letterboxd 1 to 5 stars.
Hard to compare because there's so many people reviewing that it does break it down into a
decimal points.
Yeah. So what is that? A 50-point scale, I guess. At the end of the day. So like I'm fine with that. Plus, you can do 4.5 stars on Letterboxd. You can do 3.5 stars. So I do that all the time. If you looked at my Letterboxd, I probably have more 4.5s than probably almost anything. So that's honestly, this little conversation kind of I think found it out. Like I am a ranking person, and so it sits really poor with me that I know I like Final Fantasy 16 more than insert X game, but I have to review them the same because the other game is not a 3 in my head, and it's not a 5. I have to put it there, and they're not the same. They're not the same.
Okay,
Like,
bud.
You know, like Brotato, I think I gave it a 4. It's not I don't know. It's probably a 3.5. But, you know, I know you're going to be like, well, it's a 3 then. I'll be like, no, it's not a 3 because a 3s are shit. All right?
No, they're not.
Yeah, 3s are shit.
No, they're not. 3s are supposed to be like it's a game you recommend still.
Yeah, but if you're in
it's not-
school and your teacher gives you a 3 out of 10, that's a 60%. That's a D minus. You know what I mean? I spent 18 years doing that shit.
No, you're just gonna it's a C. It's a C, all right?
That's gross. I don't want to see.
C is
If
passing.
I ever got a C, my mom beat the shit out of me.
We're talking about video games here, all right?
I can't separate them. Right? This is how my life is. All right, well, you got your heated conversation.
It drives me crazy. Like how, again, the scale's not
right.
used, and then to get that
7.5
granular.
7.5 scale. All right, meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we were talking about this, and I was just looking at some random Metacritic scores, and somebody has a 20-point scale, and they gave it a 14.7 out of 20, and that is asinine.
Oh, okay. At least
That
you
is
have a limit.
asinine. And I think it doesn't Famitsu do 40?
Yes.
But like theirs is different because they always have a panel of 4 reviewers that give it out of 10, and then they add those together.
Right.
So like it's a little bit different, but yeah, maybe should we do that? Should we do a poll? I'd be interested.
Yes,
to see
we
what
can put a
people say
poll
because-
out. We can put a poll out.
Because I obviously like to go, haha, told you so. But then also, you know, maybe I need to get checked a little bit sometimes and say, I don't always have the answers.
Yeah, I mean, some sites just do recommended or not recommended.
Yeah, or like essential, or I don't know. That might be the one that does that. Like there's like or like wait for sale, essential.
Right.
But
So. Anyway, well, yeah, we'll put it to a poll and write in. Let us know, again, between the joysticks at gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts.
all right, Nick. From one fight to the next.
Yeah.
You ready? Ready? to
I'm ready.
Continue going to battle.
I am.
All right. Well, last week for listeners who listened, Nick lost his fucking mind when we found out that Isaac Clarke was fighting Rayman.
I did.
So we have that for our first battle royale, and then Sam Fisher versus Batman.
And you always get ahead of yourself, John,
Oh,
because
okay.
who won last week?
All right. I'm so excited. You have the thing up, I'm sure.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
go
yeah.
for it.
Yep. So Cal Kestis moves on. Despite, we won't get into it, but
No, we can get into it real quick.
John doesn't like Jedi Survivor.
Yeah,
He's
I
a
gave it
fool.
up. I gave it up.
He's a fool.
Real quick. It drives me
Our 30th
nuts.
derailment.
It drives me nuts in that game that I'm a badass Jedi and I'm just picking up parts for my lightsaber and I got a mullet now. Sweet. Like I want abilities and stuff, and I know those are there, but it just kept grinding me down, and I have some issues with the level design and stuff like that, but got some other ways to spend my time. I don't need to know.
fine.
Cal Kestis, I think he's kind of a lame character too, if I'm being honest.
I like him enough.
Okay.
He could be a better character, that's for sure. And I think all the side characters definitely steal the show.
Yeah, I know. I kind of Jeff, dude we work with, made me feel pretty bad. He's like, "You didn't meet Turgle?" It's like, "No, I didn't meet Turgle. I know about him. I know he's the funny little turtle dude, but."
No, you met him. You had to have met him. If you got to the bar, you met him. Turgle's the dog. FS16.
What bar?
You're like home base on.
Kobo?
Yeah.
Oh.
You met him. You just don't remember.
don't
If you Google a picture of him, you'd know.
Yeah, I know what he looks like. He's got the eyes over here. He's
Yeah.
got a flat green head.
You met. He's getting attacked when you get to that bar.
I don't think I got to the bar.
You never got to the cantina on the planet that becomes like your home base.
No, I'm in. I was on Kobo, and I was just going through. Like I fought like a big dude who jumped down from a thing, and he was hiding. he was protecting some health, and then I had to do something with some elevators and like some black goo that was being blocked by a dam, and I opened that, and then it freed another area, and then I think I stopped. Yeah.
So you barely played the game.
Yeah, about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Yeah. No, I mean, I just got every single time I boot.
It's quite the conclusion to come to about level design and the collectibles, and you didn't even get to like you were only 2 hours in.
Yeah, I think I can. It was a lot of the same things that I had an issue with the first one, and I don't like. Again, this I hate saying this because I know how much it makes you and Jeff mad, but like I just cannot care about a Star Wars story anymore. So like and granted, there's also a side of it too. Like not playing the first one, I'm sure that hurts. Not knowing any of, it has a little recap in the beginning, but there is nothing pulling me through. There is no carrot at the end of the stick that's a carrot I want to eat. I know there's carrots there, but they're not the carrots that I like.
Gosh, your gaming taste is
your gaming taste. Sometimes. You don't like potato, dude. All right, come on. You have. We'll get into it later.
Yeah, and we got a topic next week that John came up with that admittedly is pretty good. We'll tease at the end here. We'll kind of go into like what we look for when we go into games. So that'll be interesting. Where that breakdown and probably shed some light on our differences big time. But
yeah. So
anyway, Cal Kestis won. He beat Shovel Knight.
Also, Survivor's 150 gigs. I was like, get this shit out of here. Too much. I was trying to download an update and I couldn't do it, so I was like, get out of here. Anyway, sorry. Derailed.
Yep. And then Clyde Rossfield, Dragon Slayer that he is, slayed Spyro the Dragon as well. So
That's fair. That's fair. Can't complain.
So they both move on. John and I are still at an even split. We have both had 5 fighters win.
You might get some wins here this week, Nick. We'll see.
So
I had to dig deep. Because not only the obvious funniness with Isaac Clarke versus Rayman, but honestly, Sam Fisher versus Batman is also he's the same thing, just a superhero version. What the hell?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
All right. Yeah. So I don't remember who picks first, but I'll just defer. You can pick the matchup, and I'll go first.
All right. Let's do Rayman and Isaac.
All right. All right. My opening move here is he's just gonna stand there and laugh at Isaac Clarke and make funny faces because, as we mentioned last week, Isaac Clarke's thing is dismemberment. He likes to remove limbs. That area between your hand and your shoulder. He likes to chop those off. It's his whole gimmick. The plasma cutter is there to remove the limbs of necromorphs. So, and Rayman's a silly character to begin with, so this is right up his alley, is to just tease Isaac Clarke. Your prime method of doing damage that doesn't work on me. So good luck.
Well, I'm glad that Rayman decided to stand still for me because I remember that Isaac has the skewer gun. All right, and so he's shooting those skewers at those 5 little body parts: his head, one to his forehead, one to his stomach, arms and legs, pinning him to a wall, and he's stuck with the skewer gun.
Okay. All right. Rayman, he is a toon. He lives by the physics of a toon, just like Bugs Bunny or Roger Rabbit.
Good old toon logic.
Yep, good old toon logic that his body can be flattened and cartoonishly messed up, and he always just returns to form. So even being pinned against the wall, he'll probably just hold his breath, and his body will just inflate, and all the pins will just fall out.
So what's your move? Just toon?
Yeah, he's just a toon.
He's toon, okay.
That's a defensive ability.
Okay. All right, well, to make sure that those body parts don't move, we're going to be using stasis to keep those separated body parts hopefully pinned where they are, because, frankly, Isaac's getting a little pissed off getting laughed at here so much. So we're going to stasis those body parts to hopefully inhibit that toonness.
All right. Well, Rayman's been passive this whole battle, but he's over it. He's going to use Telescopic Fist. This is a super punch that sends enemies in Rayman Legends across the sky. Launches them in the air. He's just done. He's going to punch Isaac Clarke and finish this match right here and right now.
Right. Well, hopefully that punch doesn't do too much damage because in Dead Space 3, If you beat the game once, you unlock a weapon known as the Devil's Horns. Do you know what the Devil's Horns are?
No, I don't remember this.
It is a red foam finger.
Oh yeah.
Like this. That is a one-shot kill. He just goes bang bang, and then it kills people. So, he's a toon, yes, but can he withstand the Devil's Horns and the foam finger that has? I don't know.
That's a good find because that's in Toon logic too.
Yes. Yeah, it's very silly. He's meeting the silliness of Rayman on his own battlefield. So.
All right. Good stuff.
All right.
All right. Batman versus Sam Fisher. John, you're going first. What do you got?
All right. So Sam Fisher is going. He has to get cute here. All right. I mean, he has to kind of figure it out because, like I said, he's almost looking in a mirror, but with an armored suit on. He's going to play the helpless victim. All right, Batman is a superhero. He is always looking to help people, and so he will trick him. He will take off of his uniform. He will use Batman's good nature to get him to come to his aid, as opposed to even want to fight him. He's going to say, "Who's this guy? He needs help." And then we lie in wait.
Well, I'm sure the Joker has done that to him many times. But we're gonna open up with the remote hacking device. Big part of Sam Fisher's deal, just like Batman, is his gadgets. And if you remember this device from the Arkham series, he's just gonna hack all of the electronics and put an end to that.
All right. Well, I'm going to choose to believe my next attack is an electronic then. And he's going to use a gun, right? Because that is one thing that Sam Fisher has over Batman, is that he's willing to go all the way in a battle and fight him to the death. So he uses the SC-20K MAWS Moz, which is able to equip a gas grenade, a sticky shocker, some EMP rounds to disable all of Batman's gadgets as well, and hopefully shoot him in the face. in his jawline where he is exposed.
Yeah. Batman, the world's greatest detective, he planned for this. He brought along the Disruptor. And if you remember this in the Arkham series, it's a gadget that disables enemy weapons so they no longer fire. So,
but I shot you first, though.
Yeah, technically your attack was.
All right, well, it's big guns, Nick. All right?
Oh, yeah,
we all know Batman's weakness. He uses the attack move, Martha. All right? He says the words Martha. Batman goes, huh? Martha? I know Martha. You know Martha? And then he's able to just choke him out or something when his defenses are down. Because as anybody who saw the cinematic masterpiece, Batman versus Superman, you know what that word does to him. So we just have to utter one single word.
Bringing your movie logic to this video game podcast.
I told you I had to get cute.
Yeah. All right. Batman's going to use his ultimate from the Injustice series, in which he traps the enemy to a balloon, which flies him up, and the Batwing shoots you with machine guns and missiles.
All right. Well, I guess Batman does kill in the Injustice universe, I guess.
Well, in their logic, everyone has taken a super serum. Basically, they're all super soldiers, so they can all withstand the blast. And the Injustice series doesn't have blood, so
you got to keep that canon.
Yeah, it's just silly.
The Injustice series doesn't have blood.
No.
Huh. I guess that makes sense. You don't want to see Superman bleed. Wouldn't make sense anyway.
Right. So.
Okay. Good battle. Good battle. Oh yeah, we got to get some stuff. Some next week's matchups. What do I do? Randomizer? Yeah, there you go. All right. We didn't land on a round 3 thing. We got to do that.
Yeah, we're actually 3 matchups left.
Yeah, there's not many more. Again, which is nice.
So only 6 fighters left. 6 fighters.
Isaac. Yes, we have Zagreus, Geralt, Joker from Persona, Link, Ellie, and Sonic left. So. All right, randomizer. All right, Nick, I am first. I will be championing my girl Ellie.
All right.
Who will she face? All of these guys would probably destroy her. So let's see. First Link. Ellie versus Link.
Okay. Good matchup.
I can deal with that. All right. Versus Joker from Persona 5 for me against Joker again. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic.
Which leaves Zagreus, Geralt.
That's it.
That's it.
That's the last 2. So.
Should we do 3 matchups this week?
Sure, might as well.
Might as well. Let's just.
I mean, there's a short time between recording, so
yeah.
might as well do.
All right, so I have Geralt and you got Zagreus. I kind of want that switched, but what are you gonna do? Can't break the rules.
Geralt and Zagreus. All right, so yeah, next podcast is the end of round 2, so we'll have to think about round 3 and how we want to mix things up again. But
you had an idea. All right, a draft.
Yeah,
That
we're going to draft.
Our thing.
I think we should draft, but
Has to be another element to it.
yeah, I think we might want to do something more this time. Really
Well, we're on
change
camera now. And act out as the characters.
it. Dresses them every week,
Yes.
as you suggested before.
I wish. If I had the money, if I was like some famous YouTuber that just had, Mr. Beast and I can do all this and just pump it back into the video, like I would absolutely do that.
Yeah.
Come in here. You could get a dumb little Sonic hat.
Yeah, that's not that bad.
I don't know what you get for Ellie, but anyway.
Oh.
Sorry, I'll stop derailing.
We'll just get a wig and you could look like her. All right, so that's it. That's the we're done with the 5 things. What do we got to tease again? John, you can tease the topic you suggested that we're
Yeah. So, after I saw just the horrible, like Nick makes me feel so bad when I tell him that I've disappointed him in the video game realm. And this one was probably only behind Cyberpunk when I had to tell him that I gave it a 3 out of 5. But that caused me to think, like, what are Nick and I's tastes, right? Like, what truly drives us in the video game space? And I thought, what better way to represent that than Nick and John bake their perfect video game pies? So we're going to take our pies. We can even do it up here live if we want to and draw our pies out. How much of my pie is gameplay? How much of your pie is narrative? How much of my pie is trophies? I don't know. We'll figure it out. And, whether we have the same exact categories that we put into our pies or we let it bring our own ingredients into the pies, we can determine that. But, maybe shine a little more light into why I only play a lot of number gameplay driven things and why Nick is really into characters and narrative. So
right.
get that written down on paper.
Yeah, some weight to these different, because the makeup of video games is so varied and video games are so different that I mean, people listening probably can tell what games we gravitate to, but
yeah, so
there's a method to the madness.
It was honestly a little annoying playing through Brotato because I was like, I love trophies. Don't give me these trophies. Like it's just such an extra layer to video games that I wish I didn't fucking care about so much.
They don't matter.
It doesn't matter, but remember when I was talking about carrots? That's a carrot I want to eat. Like just
yeah.
If
it's the right
so
game,
nice.
yeah.
Like Brotato's a perfect trophy list. Perfect. So my pie is trophies.
All right. Other than that, I know you're struggling to find what your next game is.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I got a trip coming up, so that's why I picked up Wonder to have the portability of it. But I don't know. I mean, it's just a weird space because not only is there backlog, but like there's also these tentpole games coming out soon. With Rebirth being out and you being done with that soon, do I just kind of play little games to hopefully get to that point, or do I jump into something because I still got Diablo 4, Remnant 2, Hogwarts Legacy. I have those games that I could tackle, but I also Stellar Blade. I might want to give Dragon's Dogma a chance. So, I'm just feeling unsure of anything to like jump in both feet first.
Sure.
I don't know if you had to guess. When do you think you'll have Rebirth done? Like if you had to guess, like not saying you fucking crush through it, but like
I'd probably
2 weeks?
Yeah, I'd say 2 weeks is probably.
That'll be perfect. I'll come back from Arizona. Yeah. So I'll probably play some small stuff. Maybe it's time I get Balatro.
That's what I was going to say.
It might be a good Balatro time because that also can be. Well, I don't know if my portal will if I want to deal with that in Arizona, but yeah, I think that might be a good sized game to dip my toe into now.
Yeah, and it's new.
It is new.
You can bring it to the show.
I usually don't bring new stuff.
Yeah, so exactly.
I can be useful for once.
Yeah, and again, not much teases here either. It's going to be Rebirth and Helldivers for a minute here, and hopefully, and I'll probably squeeze in some.
That is something. Next time you're in Helldivers, call me. I know you probably usually do anyway.
Yeah, but there's this podcast that I listened to once called My Perfect Console. It's been kind of a topic we've been pitching. It's a cool podcast. He does interviews, but between just the normal interview, he asks the guests to create their own console. And the limits are that this console can only run 5 games. So you kind of pick 5 games that you would want on what you would consider your perfect console.
So it's like a desert island scenario.
Yeah, basically. And then at the very end, you name your console, which I think is also fun. So, we've been pitching it for a while. I don't think we'll do 5 games, but maybe we'll do 3 games each in the spirit of the show and then name our console. That's another topic.
And in the spirit of me, I'll do 5 just to make Nick angry.
God, he's the worst.
You love me.
So yeah, I mean, I think probably the next few months will be kind of topic heavy, and then it won't be long, man. They announced the day for Summer Game Fest.
Yep.
We know there's going to be
right?
more. Yep, more showcases will be coming, and again, I like my new term, the fog of war,
Yep.
is going to start being revealed for the second half of the year. So exciting. That's all I got. All right, John. We got songs. You got a song?
I got a song.
Ooh.
I got a song. It's a oldie, but a goodie.
Okay.
I mean, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is it's so hot right now. So we're gonna go with the classic One Winged Angel. I believe it's already been on the show, but it's time to bring it back. It's time to bring it back. Sephiroth needs his.
That's not how you say his name.
Sephiroth.
There you go.
Thank you. Did they do that? They don't. It's just in the song, right? That they do that?
Yeah.
No characters ever like.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, you said it's a goofy game.
It could happen. He's not in it as much as the remakes. Shockingly, so far anyway.
Yeah,
I wonder.
Be big towards the end, I'm sure.
That I'm sure that. Yeah, I'm sure I will be hearing this song at some point. So.
But yes, by One Winged Angel by Nobuo Uematsu, who
So good.
at this point has to have the most amount of songs on our podcast, I would think.
I don't think so. I think this is our 4th time bringing him, so that he might just
Lin?
break the lead. Yeah, Lynn's up there.
My near dude is up there.
Yeah, maybe Mick Gordon. I don't know how many Doom songs we've had, but
Nobuo-
yeah, no, great
Nobuo.
song. Great song again. We're in the Final Fantasy hype cycle, so.
And I feel like we're at the point in this podcast that we used a song 80 shows ago. We can throw it back in there.
Sure. Well, a lot of these games, come on, put your soundtracks out there.
That's
I
also
love
true.
I love listening to video game soundtracks, especially this good.
You'd probably dig the Brotato soundtrack. It's very
Well, you should have brought a song from Brotato.
It's not on Spotify. What did you just say?
Oh yeah. Well, that's lame.
Yes. So, but it's just like that cyberpunk techno-y kind of nonsense.
All right, so that's it. And, again, thanks for listening. We apologize for the late podcast, but, John and I just trying to fight for time to sit in a room and talk video games.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy, so we appreciate you listening. We love you. Play video games. Let us know about them. It's a busy time.
Tell us what review scale we should go with.
Oh, God. If we change it, I'm just going to lose my mind. But if that's what the listeners want. All right. So that's it. Of course, we will be back next week with Up to 6 Things. Goodbye, guys.